All right, hello guys. Welcome back to another episode of Galley Stories, stories of the Bering Sea and beyond. I am your host, Mark Kaler. And before we get started today, I just want to let you know, as you've probably heard me mention previously, we don't really edit these, so you just get what you get. And today, sitting here on the gale in the waters here in Ballard, there's a bit of wind, so you might hear a bit of that as we go. But today's guest is, some people might know him as Steve Davidson. I've always known him as Harley Davidson. How are you doing today, Harley?
Doing fine, Mark. Thanks for inviting me.
Hey, thanks for coming down. So you've listened to some of these before. I want to start off first of all. Just you're growing up.
Oh, about my growing up and
Yeah.
Okay.
Where were you born? And
I was born in Los Angeles, and oldest of 5 kids. And then we moved to Washington when I was 10 years old, and I was thankful my parents got me out of that LA area, and we moved down to Kent, and then I lived down there with me. I was the oldest of 5, so my younger brother was 15 years younger than me, and we had 3 sisters between us.
Spread out quite a ways.
Spread them out quite a way, so kind of really, I was 5 years older than the next one, so I really kind of spent a lot of time just by myself. My parents started a business there. They had a family billiards, so I got to work in the pool hall as a young man, and through high school, that's where we hung out down in Kent.
So hanging out in the pool hall.
Yeah.
Were you good at pool?
Yeah, I was pretty dang good at it. But yeah, I was pretty good at it. I rack them up and play the jukebox and clean the tables, and yeah, I got pretty good at it.
Make a little extra money off those guys coming in.
It was a family billiard, so we kind of kept it clean, but it was pretty good. And then I after high school, I was in sports, and I was trying to see what the heck I was going to do, and I actually got a scholarship for football, and I went and played football at a community college for 1 year, and didn't really enjoy that as much as I thought I would, and I was still looking to go to college and still trying to figure out what I was doing, and I wound up going up to Western Washington, up in Bellingham, and then that's how I got attracted to fishing. I was going between classes. I was trying to find some guys to go have a beer with, and these guys, hey, you want to go have a beer? And I go, no, I can't. I got to go to work. What do you guys do? And they say, oh, we're fishermen. Oh, you're fishermen. Where do you fish at? And they fish up in Alaska, but actually they fish in Puget Sound too. And if I wanted, they would ask their captain. They think they have an opening, and maybe I could go fishing with them.
Maybe not go to work that day.
I go, okay. So I wound up going fishing with them there in Puget Sound on a drum seiner with fall fishing. It was fall time, and we were just kind of around Cherry Point and and Lummi Island and stuff outside of Bellingham.
Mm-hmm. What was your job?
Oh, I started out as the cook and run the drum. Had to learn how to run. They have the big reel on the back of the boat, and so I had to learn how to coordinate between the reel and the fair lead. The fair lead is the thing that guides the net when you're pulling it in, and then the drum just reels it up. So I'd operate the drum and back and forth with the fair lead, kind of like a sewing machine or.
Mm-hmm. Almost like a little spinner reel too, right?
Like a spinner, like a spinner reel.
Yeah.
Just got to feed it up so it don't go wadded up. And it was, there was 4 of us and a guy in the skiff, and he would take off, and it was a big old boat. It was like 65, old wooden boat, and actually that's where I got my nickname Harley.
You remember the name of that boat?
The Sunlight. Jim Briscoe and the Sunlight. He still has that boat, and it still fishes up in Bellingham there.
Now we got to hear the Harley story.
Yeah, and so there was like 3 of us, and then all of us were named Steve, and so he kept saying, "Watch out, Steve!" And then everybody would jump back, right? And so then he said, "Okay, that's it. Your last name's Davidson, so your nickname's Harley." And then the other guy one guy got to be Steve, and the other guy got to be Fox, and his name was Steve Fox. But so you're Fox, you're Harley, and you're Steve. And so now that started in the late 70s, and it was kind of, okay, I'll be Harley. It was kind of fun, but I wasn't quite sure about somebody giving you a nickname. And then it kind of stuck with me, and I continued going fishing in Alaska, and you could tell where you met the person or where the person met you, as if they would call you Harley or they call you Steve. Because then I'd say, okay, that guy met me from, some certain areas in Alaska. I used to fish different salmon areas in Alaska. And I said, okay, you met me when I was a salmon fisherman, or did you meet me when I was a crab fisherman? Because as a crab fisherman, I was Steve at that point for a while, and then it got all mixed up, and then you just turned into a Harley.
Vroom, vroom.
Yeah, right? I got no motorcycle, no tattoos.
How old were you the first time you went out there then? When you were on the Sunseeker, you said it was called?
Yeah, the Sunlight. Yeah,
Sunlight.
I was probably 20 years old.
Okay.
Oh, let's see, I was 21 years old. Yeah. I was in 77. I started fishing in Puget Sound in 77. And then I fished there for a couple, 3 years, and I wound up being married and having a baby. And my daughter, she was born premature, and she was really expensive, really pretty, but she was really expensive. And I didn't have health insurance or anything, so I needed to try to pay for her. And at the time, I was still kind of doing some carpentry work and doing some fishing around Puget Sound and just trying to make life, still taking classes at the college and still trying to figure out my life and go things. But now I have a daughter that's, premature, and I have a big bill. And so, then she was born in November of 1980, and by January of 81, I went fishing in Alaska for the first time on a crab boat. And what
was the name of that boat?
That was Alaska Monarch. And the way that started, I was hanging with these guys when I was fishing in Bellingham, and I was trying to fit in with the crew, and we were having fun doing this Puget Sound fishing, and I started hanging around the docks with them, and I was looking down the docks, and I go, who are all those guys over there? And they go, what do you mean? I said, those guys over there, all the Corvettes and everything, who are those guys? And they said, oh, those are the crab fishermen. And I said, oh, really? And they go, yeah, those are the crab fishermen. Yeah. I said, okay, I'll see you guys in a little while. And so I went over and I started hanging out with those crab fishermen. And then, and I hooked up with this guy, and then we got to be buddies. And when they had an opening, he called me. And that was right after my daughter was born, and I was in dire need for some big bump for some finance. And so I went up there, and it was January of 1980. She was born, 81. January of 81. It was the first time I went up with him on the Alaska Monarch. I met him in King Cove, Alaska. We're going to do some barradie fishing. 58 cents a pound. It wasn't a big price, but there was a lot of barradie. I didn't know. I had no idea. And it was just me and this guy, which was a monster. He's like a Tom Abbott. This guy was like he was somebody you'd see him out of some movie or book or something. This guy was crazy. He was like a logger and a crab fisherman, and he was big and strong. And I kind of wanted to be like him, or wanted to do what he was doing, and he was making good money, and we were doing some fun. But so I hung around with him and went with him on the Alaska Monarch for a while, but I wasn't very skillful, and it was a little bit harder than I thought. It was cold, really cold. My feet were so cold. I remember putting my socks on, and I put bread bags over it, and then put some more socks on. And my feet were so numb, and my hands were so numb. And the first thing I did is put my hand in the wrong place, and the pot came swinging back by and splattered all the meat out of my fingers. I still got scars, but now I'm. Yeah, no, you're getting tested. You're getting tested hard,
Yeah.
And
so, how many guys were on the boat?
When we started, there was only 4. Tom and me. Actually, there might have only been 3. This other guy that wasn't very good either. And so me and this guy that weren't very good were with Tom. I don't remember a 4th guy at the very start. And then I think we had to we got a couple more guys came from Bellingham, and they were a little better than I was. They'd done a couple seasons before me, and they were kind of there's a lot of bullying going on the boats, right? And at that time, these guys are kind of making me not feel like I'm that good of a guy. They're trying to bully you, and it's okay. They could do better than I could. They had more seasoned, more skill. They could tie better knots than me. They knew what to do. They could dance around. I can't. I don't know no dance. I'm just a worker.
Right.
But then
I'll go.
Yeah, right. And so then we just started figuring it out. we get it figured out. I like to see those guys now. I sometimes think about that now. I remember those two dudes. I wonder where they are.
The one's bullying you?
Yeah, because that was
where are you at now?
Yeah, right. That was 1980.
Things are different.
I bet they're a little different too. I wonder how they look. I was sometimes gonna find them, but we continued doing that for a while, and then the marriage was not going so well, so I had to move back home and kind of start fishing around Puget Sounds. Stayed out of crabbing for a couple years, but then I wasn't happy. So now you're you're dealing with a couple different things. First you weren't doing, you just got to sort your stuff out. So once the marriage dissolved, then I went back fishing. And then when you go fishing at that time, that was 1983, 84 probably. And when you go fishing at those times, then I was fishing long periods of time. It was probably at the year, I bet it was 9 to 10 months a year.
Obviously still the Derby days. You guys were just going out and running hard.
Oh yeah.
How was your daughter at this point? She got together real fine, and she was born premature, but she's a fighter and a survivor, and right now she just finished her master's degree, and she's working as a school psychologist, and she's doing really fine. So those guys were out buying brand new Corvettes coming back from crabbing, and you were paying needle to get some care unit.
I give my money to UW. UW Medical Hospital.
Okay, so
that's where she was born.
We went back up in 1983. What boat did you go back up to? And
you know what? I went on a small boat out of Bellingham, a little 42-foot boat, and I went up to go fish barradie in Kodiak, and we took this boat from Seattle or from Bellingham, and we went up to Kodiak, and I got there, and I remember getting there. It was mid-February, around my birthday, and we were on strike. It was so icy that things were just really. And this owner of the boat was an old Portuguese guy, and he had this terrible stink about him. He just and we were in the middle of the Gulf of Alaska trying to travel, and this guy just had a stench. And me and this other guy. There were two crew members and this one Portuguese captain. And he, every time a wave would come, he'd make all these noises and this stench. And me and this other guy kept going, what the world have we got into? We went with him, and we got to Kodiak, and we went and did a season, but he didn't know what he was doing. He couldn't catch any crab, and we didn't make any money, really. It was kind of just it wasn't a very good deal. And so at the time, there was a big crab boat there, the Golden Dawn. The Golden Dawn was in Kodiak, and I got on board there, and I got to go to the Bering Sea for the second time.
Who was the captain on there when you?
This guy. I can't remember his name. He was a pretty nice guy. He had a daughter that was born premature in the hospital same time I did.
No wonder you got on.
I know, right? Right? No, he was a pretty cool guy.
Was she called the Golden Dawn then?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a crab boat, and it was before it had the extra house and everything. But yeah, it was gold then.
She was golden with was it black?
I might have had black trim.
I think it was gold with
I worked
black
on that,
trim,
and we weren't really making any money on that boat either. I remember going aground on it though.
Really?
Yeah. It's going through Falls Pass.
Let's hear about that.
Going through Falls Pass. I'm trying to remember the name of those guys. There's 3 guys on there. They've been on the boat for a while. They're good guys, but he went through Falls Pass and bumped up on the beach there, and he, going through the cans, and he got a bunch of black sand. He didn't turn his pumps off, his crab pumps, so the water, instead of sucking water in to keep the ballast on the boat, he was sucking in sand, and he filled up his crab tanks with sand. I mean, not filled, but he put a couple 3 feet of sand in the bottom of the tanks, and so we were sat there on the beach for a little while until the tide lifted us and floated us, and then we got away. But I had to get all that sand out of the goddamn bottom of the tanks.
You shovel it all out?
Oh yeah. No, it was bad stuff. We did that for a while, and then that really wasn't a very good season. We were in the Bering Sea over trying to crab, and that wasn't working out well. And so they wanted to go. They were just going to stop, just tie the boat up, and so I got on the Golden Pride. That's part of the Golden Pisces. I was going to go trawling for the first time, and I tried that for a few weeks, and I realized I'm not a dragger. I don't know, but that really goes slow. I'm going, holy smokes, man.
Well, your first experience on the crab boats, you said you were freezing. You was kicking your ass. You weren't as good as the other guys, and then you get on a trawler and you're like, this is too slow.
Way too slow.
Too much time in the house. Or
oh
what?
God, you put the net out for about 5 minutes, and you run in and watch your movie, and then you watch another movie, and then you I don't know where I get up and go look around. Nobody's there. Everybody's in their bunk still. Well, you smelled some cookies burning every once in a while, but I don't know. That wasn't going to be my cup of tea either.
Yeah.
And so then I took off and I decided to go pursue my salmon career a little more. It got to be summertime, so I went off to Chignik, and they were really doing well there at that time, and that was mid '80s, and it was the place to be. And I went on the beach there. I just flew into this village, got in there and landed, and I wanted to go salmon fishing. I knew some crew members there, and they were telling me where to go and stuff. I flew into Chignik Bay, and I asked around, and there was a couple guys who were going to offer me a job. My buddy was going, no, man, that guy, he's probably not going to pay you. He's got some. He doesn't do very good on that.
What year was this? Probably 87 then?
87, 88.
So
yeah.
was that Silver Lining there, or was it two? What was the
They
name
had
of that
Norquest
place?
and Chignik Pride.
Chignik Pride.
ADF, Aleutian Dragon Fisheries.
I thought it was a dragon up there.
Yeah, Aleutian Dragon Fisheries and Chignik Pride, and so I was still looking for work. I had some nice looking rain gear, some light rain gear. Remember this beautiful red light rain gear. I stood out pretty good. I mean, I looked like I knew what I was doing because I could strut myself because I'm a Bering Sea fisherman. Now, if I'm going to Chignik, it's a whole different deal because you're a Bering Sea fisherman, which is you stepped it up a notch. So, anyways, I'm looking for a job, going up and down the beach, and I can't find a decent job in Chignik Bay. And my friends are they're telling me that I should go to Chignik Lagoon. Okay.
Right around the corner.
Yeah, right around the corner.
And
there's a boat.
Eagle Rock there, and
Long Eagle Rock, and up into the lagoon there. And there's a flat side. There's not a dock. There's not a hotel. There's not a restaurant. There's nothing. There's an airstrip, and at the end of the airstrip, there's a pole with a telephone on it, and that's about all there is. That's your public meeting spot or whatever. There ain't nothing over there at that point.
I think it's beautiful though.
Oh, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. So I hitched a ride over there with this boat. He gave me a ride. A white captain, when he's taking me over to a real native area, and I went and tell some of the other crew members that I'm heading over to the lagoon. They're going, "You're going lagoon?" I go, "Yeah." And they're going, "Oh man, you gonna know what they're gonna do to you over there?" "Oh, what are they gonna do to me over there?" "They're gonna bend you over in a rock and they're gonna fuck you." I go, "Shut up!" No. They told me that and I was kind of half-assed scared. I'm going, well, son of a bitch.
So again, this is 87. How old are you now? You're
20 something. What was I? 20. I'm getting to be 30. I'm getting to be 30.
That's a pretty short ride from Chignik Bay to the lagoon. It's 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes.
No, it's an hour. It's an hour.
I guess I'm mostly taking on a skiff.
Yeah, no, it's a good hour on these little boats. You go by Mud Bay around Negro Head.
Yeah, was that in your head going over there?
Oh yeah, I was looking around. Who in the hell's gonna fuck me? And then you get there and it's all low tide, and so you're going, well, how do you get out this boat? And it's all big old mud hole, and you got to kind of we take the skiff in, but I waited till high tide, and then you take the boat in closer, and they got a little mooring buoy they put it on, and then you get a skiff, and you get a skiff ride. I go and walk to one end of the beach to the next, and I start down at one end, and I started introducing myself, seeing crews working on nets and going in, "Hey, can I do anything?" No, we're good. And then I get all the way down to the end, and now I'm kind of wondering where in the hell I'm going to stay tonight. I'm starting to get a little more desperate. I'm starting to think, how's this going to work out for me? And I'm walking up to this last house way on the end of the flat side on the lagoon there, and I'm walking up to the house. As I'm walking up to the house, they got a shop in there, and I heard that this guy was the Highliner the year before, and everything, and as I'm walking down up to the dock, up to the house, this lady comes running out of the house, and she says, "Get the fuck out of here, you piece of shit!" And she starts screaming like hell, and I'm looking, Jesus Christ, I haven't even got to her. I'm just walking up the driveway, and then I see this dog running like hell, and then I go, oh shit, she was yelling at the dog. I thought I was busted right there. I go up to the shop and I hang out in the shop and I start filling needles and meeting these guys and working on their net. And finally the captain shows up in the shop and, who are you? He's a big guy, big old Russian Aleut. Who are you? And he has the squeakiest little voice you ever seen. I told him, I'm Harley or Steve. I think I was Steve at that point. And I'm looking, maybe I was Harley. Yeah, I was Harley in that village. And so I'm going, I'm Harley and I'm looking for a job. And he maybe, we'll see here. And then so I just kept fucking working, and pretty soon, well, you can stay here. And so I got a place to stay, and then I worked for a few days.
Did anybody ask you to start help working, or you just went up there?
No, you just start working. You now you're getting kind of worried about how this is going to go.
Dinner's coming, maybe.
Place to stay. And so I worked there for a couple of days, and he hired me on for the 5% guy, the extra guy. And it was cool though. He had a new boat. It was the Captain Sam. This thing, Michael Gruner?
I do.
Yeah.
I do know Michael.
Yeah, you know the voice then.
Oh yeah.
But he was funny, and so he's a river rat, and so he's running up on step up the river there, and it's going to be a flare opening up there at Mensa's Point, and everybody's up there. All the boats are starting to watch around. They're watching Michael because he was the head guy last year, and he's the river rat. And he sits there until about 10 minutes before the opening, 8 minutes before the opening. They're going to have a flare opening, and everybody's jockeying around, waiting. No gentleman, nothing. Just lay your nets out. And right before, 8 minutes before, he turns around and starts heading out. And he's heading back out the bay. And he's going back to Blind Channel right before his boat was moored at. And we're up on step, and he's racing like hell. And we get there, and there's fish all through that Blind Channel. And it's foggy too, and he makes his big set, and we just start getting them, and we're towing on this for an hour and a half, and all of a sudden these other boats are starting to come back. They made a set, they didn't catch shit, and he's coming back, and they're looking at us, and we don't have our net closed yet. We're still towing. Legally they're however they do it, their gentleman rule, you can still come inside my net because this is still my set. It's not like your second set, it's still your first set. But anyways, he's looking and he sees this other boat coming. It's Gunner Anderson. And he goes, oh shit, we're going to get gun smoke, boys. And he says, we're going to get gun smoke because Gunner's coming. And thank God Gunner seen some fish before he came to see ours. And so he took his fish and we go, oh, okay, we got him. And he's got me up on the bow, and I'm plunging this big pole in the water, plunging. He wants to chasing the fish back into the net, and he wants me to keep plunging he says, I want you to plunge like you never plunged before.
And you never plunged before.
Yeah, right? so I'm just bang. God, this guy's got me just crazy. He's like foaming. He's a crazy guy, man. It was fun. And it all settled. I got 10,000 sockeye that day in that set. And we're just deck loaded. We're deck loaded. And all of a sudden, here come all my friends that have been watching me. They're wondering if they thought I was going to be fucked on that flat rock, right? And they're all coming back. They haven't seen me. This is opening day.
Right.
And they're coming back out of Mensa's Point, and they're coming out the lagoon, and then they see, I'm waving at them because I got that fancy rain gear on. You can see me.
Oh, yeah.
And they go, oh, shit. Look at he's loaded, And
I just want to say real quick or ask your opinion. I've been all over Alaska and seen a lot of salmon, and I think that Chignik has some of the most beautiful sockeye that there are.
Oh, yeah, that's a gorgeous fish.
Big,
oh, fuck,
and they are just beautiful.
Big. Oh, we're 9-10 pound average,
Yeah.
Those are big fish.
I think they're still running 6.8, 7.2, somewhere in that range.
Oh, it's a nice fish.
We
always get paid more than everybody at that point. And these fish are so fun because you're fishing in the lagoon with one of those beach saints, and when you're just a shallow little net, and we're bouncing off the bottom all the time. All the time. These guys fall over, and you're screaming, help, I fell over. And the guy says, stand up for fuck's sakes, You go, oh. No, you're right, shallow in a little shallow net, and it's like a little fly swatter. And these fish are like crazy coming at you, trying to get out. When you plunge, they go back about 18 inches, and then they try again. And you just got to keep plunging and plunging.
Just coming in there from Mud Bay into the lagoon, if it's low tide, there's only a little small channel you can
all those big bars there.
Yeah,
you got the lower bar and the upper bar and all that.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a fun place to fish.
You had a good time.
I fished there for 9 years. I stayed with that same guy that I got the boat ride the first time. After I did Michael one year, then I got back on that guy that gave me the ride the first time, Jason Alexander. And I love Jason.
What a phenomenal guy.
What a great guy. I was so lucky to
He-
meet such a nice man.
He now has Captain J
Right.
and the Mary Jane. Or his
Yeah,
boats now.
he had 2 sons that were fishing. He had 3 sons. He's had some catastrophes in his life too. But he's just a gentleman. It was so good to work for him and me and the crew. We never changed crew for 6 years. Me and the other deckhand and the skiff man. All 3 of us got to be best friends, and we were a force. And we and there's 100 boats there at the time, and we were always either number 2, number 3. We were always in top 5.
He's still a hell of a fisherman.
Yeah, we did good. We made a lot of money, and we did good. And it was fun. I enjoyed fishing with Jason so much, and then I do that with him and the salmon, and then we wound up going on the herring with him. And so I go on the herring circuit with him on that boat, on the same boat, the Captain J.
Mm-hmm.
And we did Prince William Sound and Homer, and we go Cook Inlet, and then we head off to Togiak. But no, it was freaking those are some fun times.
So 1 year on the Captain Sam, 8 years then, or 9 years on the Captain J?
Yeah, 9 years.
9 years.
Yeah, long time with
Still
him. The
attached-
only reason I quit is because then I had to. I was still. at the same time, I've been doing salmon, herring, with Jason, and then I was also doing crab on my other.
When were you home?
I come home and change gears, man. You change gears, get a week off, and change gears and go again.
Okay.
Go crab, and I always went.
Who-
I
were
was
you
on. I
crabbing
was
with
on
the
the.
same
I
boat?
was on the Rainier and the Paragon, the Pacific, the Polar Sea, Polar Star. I work on a Polar Sea, Polar Star for 5 years, and the Rainier Paragon for 5 years. It's the same owner, and they kind of bounce around between 2 boats.
Right.
And then at that point, and that was all while I was still working with Jason and Chignik. But then I got on the American Star, and the American Star was one of the premier crab boats, a big, beautiful, most beautiful vessel in Alaska. And I also had my Coast Guard license at that point. So then I was working as a mate, and so I was kind of building up into something. Knew I wasn't going to buy a crab permit, or a salmon permit, excuse me. I wasn't going to get a salmon permit, so I was not going to probably be able to, Jason got his. A lot of people do different things, but you knock up a native, and they have permits, right? And so then you get one.
So, explain that a little bit. So, a guy can buy a permit now.
You can buy them then too, but they're $500,000,
Were they then too?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was the most expensive permit in the state.
Chignik.
Oh yeah.
That's because they have the beautiful fishing.
Well, we were making big bucks. We were the high place. One year when I was the highest boat, I was number 2 in Chignik, and I could tell you that out of salmon fishing in the whole state of Alaska, there were 3 crew members that made more money than me, and they were in Chignik. Nobody made more money than me in the state of Alaska, and that's what you're fishing for, is who can make the most money. Mm-hmm. Right? And I knew no other area could beat us.
Did you get that Corvette then?
Yeah, right. Go rock it up. No, I still had other things going on, but
okay. So that took us from 87 then to.
I think when I left Jason was probably the early 90s, and we were going to quit because I was going to go on the. Excuse me.
The big.
I started fishing with Jason in '88, so I've been 95 or 96. Yeah.
Going to the big, beautiful Alaska.
I was going to go to the American Star. And we were going to go crabbing in Russia, and I was going to be the mate. And then he gave me my first job. I was running a boat. He let me be the tender captain.
Okay, tendering in the summers, hauling salmon.
Yeah, so I'm going to be the captain on that.
Tender captain.
With the most beautiful boat in the freaking state. This thing is gorgeous. It packs 1 million pounds.
So on the radio, are you Harley or Steve? At this point.
Oh boy, I don't know. I'm still undecided on that to this day. Yeah, I don't know it. I don't know what the hell I am.
Okay.
I think you're Harley. You're Harley. That's fine.
Yeah. How did tendering go?
Oh, I liked it. Because I knew what salmon fishermen wanted, because I've been doing it. And so and we cared, and we had fun. I had a good crew. I had my nephew and my daughter, and I had people coming up, so I was having a fun time with my daughter again, which I needed, to be with her.
Well, previously it sounds like you were only home to change clothes and maybe do a little laundry.
Yeah, there was some time. Take her to Disneyland, do things every time, you know, you just come home and spoil her and then run. But yeah. Well, yeah, no, you had to do just some stuff. Yeah, so then I got to do the American Star, and then we kept doing that for throughout the 90s, and at that time, once again, I'm on one of the highline boats. This guy always caught more crab than anybody in the paleo fishing because he could pack more. He could pack 500,000 pounds. Everybody else, and he could put all his crab pots back on the boat with 500,000 pounds under deck. And most guys, if they can go get 300,000 pounds, but then they can't take their crab pots.
So then it takes more time, and then.
Well, you can't go to the same places we're going. We're going up where the ice is. We're going to go mess. We're going to go play cat and mouse with the ice. Because all the ice is frozen, or the ocean's frozen over, and we set our pots right when the wind blows one direction, and try to get in some clear area to where we can fish in. And then, but you're scared because if the wind turns the other way, you're going to lose all your gear.
Ice takes them. Yeah. How big was that boat?
158. Yeah.
Is she still around now?
No, that thing caught on fire. I wasn't on board, and we were going to go up for a paleo fishing, and then they postponed the season that year because of icing conditions up in the Pribilofs. They postponed the season, and so we decided to go cod fishing, and we didn't need everybody to go cod fishing. So I mean, right at the airport, the morning at the airport in Seattle, we thought I'll just stay here. I volunteer. I don't need to go cod fishing. And so I stayed home, and the captain took the boat, and he went and they went cod fishing. And I told him, be careful, be nice to that boat. You guys take care of it. And they went, and I don't know what the hell happened. The rain gear and this stack, and in the engine room, and it caught fire, and they lost the boat, man. It was a show on Discovery also about that boat being caught on fire. It drifted up on Unimak Island.
The crew was okay?
Yeah, the helicopter got the crew and the dog off.
Thank God for the Coast Guard.
Yeah, no kidding. No shit. They got those guys off, and the boat drifted up on the beach, and the program was about how they were trying to rescue the boat off the beach. It was actually landed on the beach pretty good. It's right on the sandy beach, and it's the most beautiful hole you ever seen. This thing's gorgeous.
You still think it's beautiful? She burned down.
Yeah, I say, every once in a while I miss my ex-wife, but I never ever mix my. I always miss my boat. You know what I mean? When I was young like that, that was terrible.
So
that was
95 through.
It sank in 99.
So 4 years after.
Yeah.
So now you're a guy. What have to say?
Well, at the same time, we were going through crab rationalization. Things are starting to come around, and I was fortunate enough. I met a gentleman that Pat Dwyer, and Pat worked at Norquest, and Pat hired me to be the captain. He was the manager. He hired me to be the captain of the Cape Caution, and that was in year 2000. I remember I left Seattle here before Y2K. I was in Ketchikan during the New Year's Eve. I thought when you thought your GPS and everything's going to shut down. I go, oh shit, I'm going to go try it, But it didn't. But I took that boat up for a few years with Norquest, and then parlayed that into start working on another bigger boat that Pat had, the Beverly B, and then kept doing that along with salmon tendering. And when the American Star sank, I was lucky enough to get a job on the Arctic Eagle, and so I got to run the Arctic Eagle for tendering, and then I would look for another boat to go crabbing on, and Pat was hiring me to be the crab captain. So my life was still getting balanced out.
Was that your first crab captain job then?
Yeah, the Cape Caution.
How did that go? I mean, that's still a beautiful boat. I love that boat.
Cape Caution?
Yeah.
Cape, what do they call it? The Cape Tragic or something. That thing was always breaking down.
I love it because of Kirby. Do you know Kirby?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
he's still there.
That man has done some incredible things.
Oh,
he's a genuinely nice guy that goes out of his way to make you feel good.
Right. Right. No, he's an awesome tenderman. He is really good. That boat, we did fine. We had some pretty good season. I wound up doing some crazy fishing. That was in the Derby time, and my buddies had bigger boats, and they would talk me into staying out with them during the storm. And I go, oh Jesus. Me and this little boat's a lot different than them and their bigger boat. I'm sitting there jogging next to them, but
you're saying your buddies talked you into staying out, so they were captains too.
Yeah,
Right?
my other captain buddies. I got to run to the island. They're going, no, we're staying here. I don't know about me staying here, bud.
Now you're rubbing shoulders with captains. You are a captain, and this is the crew.
You got to figure out how we're going to be the most productive.
Right.
You know, that's how you're going to be judged. If you're going to still be a captain, you better be productive.
And that was before the
rationalization. Yeah. When rationalization happened, I already did a couple years of the Cape Caution, a couple years of the Beverly B, and then rationalization was coming, 05.
Yeah.
And
how'd you fare on that? I know some captains got actually captain's quota and.
No, I didn't get any captain quota. I pre-qualified. See, that was part of the problem of being on the American Star. When I was on the American Star for all those years, and we were doing so well, it would have been a good time for me in my career to go get in a little boat and be a captain of it. But at the same time, I was on a Highliner boat, and I was in second in charge, and it's hard to ever leave something that good. And I didn't ever leave because I was just, my life was good, you know.
Making that money.
I'm making good money, and I got a good life. I'm working with Roger O'Vera. He was the owner of that boat, and Sam Yella. They were the owners of that boat, and they were really fair and nice. I've always kind of stuck with the Norwegians. That was my theme when I started crabbing, starting with Alaska Monarch, being a Norwegian, and then the Polar Sea, Polar Star, Norwegians, the Paragon Rainier, Norwegians. I met that Norwegian guy in the Rainier. I was sitting there. That was when I was fishing in Chignik, and I went up elk hunting, and my friends are going. We're talking in the morning. We're up in the middle of the woods up in Yakima elk hunting. My friend said, "You gonna go crabbing this season? You know, it's in November. We're elk hunting in November. You going opelio fishing in January?" And no, I had a good summer. You know, I'm just gonna stay home for a little while. I'm just gonna stay home. And so then, yeah, okay, cool. Well, we'll meet you at the truck at noon or whatever. Yeah, okay. And so then I go off elk hunting. And I'm sitting in the middle of the woods. It's raining like hell. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, God damn, I got probably a lot of taxes due. And what the hell am I doing up in the woods here? I should be looking for a job. You know, what the hell am I thinking? And so then I'm sitting there talking to myself, sitting up in the hills in Yakima, and all of a sudden I hear some noises. And I think the elk are coming. And I turn my head around, and I see this big Norwegian guy coming with Grunden Ranger, big orange Ranger, older Norwegian guy. And he comes down the trail, and I go, hi. And he starts talking to me, and I realize he's Norwegian. And I said, well, what boat you got? You know, just making a shot in the dark. And I got the Rainier. And it was Alf Sorvik. Alf had a real bad stutter. And I go, well, yeah, I had a friend that works on the Rainier. I'd like to go fishing with you on the Rainier. And I told him about my history and my stuff. And we sat there and talked in the middle of the woods. And, well, okay, I'll take you crab fishing, he said. I can go with him. I go, wow, okay. And so then I go running back down to the truck at lunchtime, and I see my buddies, and I'm all excited. They go, what's going on? Did you see some elk? I go, no, man, I got a crab job. And they're going, shut up. You said you weren't going crabbing. What are you talking about? Oh, man, I met this big Norwegian guy in the woods. I got me a crab job.
It sounds like you still made a good shot.
Right?
Right.
Oh, yeah, no, that was cool. But anyway, so, yeah, I always stuck with the Norwegian clan. They've always treated me right.
And with no Norwegian blood.
No Norwegian blood, no.
So
I'm only Norwegian by intercourse. No.
Right. I was going to say, you did marry a Norwegian guy.
Yeah, I married a Norwegian girl. They set my skates high, man.
That might have to be an entirely new episode. So, Harley, that entire time you were up there, were you ever scared? Crabbing, I mean.
You know, I've been scared many times, Mark. Many, many, many times. And you're out been fishing this many years, 35, 37 years, out in the middle of the Bering Sea. I've been scared so many goddamn times where you get this little voice in your head going, somebody's going to die today. And you go, shut the fuck up. And then you hear it go, nope, somebody's going to die today. And you're scared to shitless. You better be scared.
Yeah.
Oh, you better be. I've been scared so many goddamn times.
Do you remember, well...
I spend most of my life scared. You know, I mean, you better be, because you're going to react. You better be looking for something that's going to bite your ass.
Right.
Because if you don't, something's going to bite your ass.
That's not a good thing.
No, I've been scared lots and lots and lots of times, you know, and never to the point where we're listing over and I think we're sinking. No, I never sank. I never washed a guy over. never had a death on board, thank goodness. Knock on wood.
Knock on that, yeah.
But
that's mahogany.
Okay. But at the same time, always scared. Always scared.
That's probably a good way to be, right?
Well, some people say that. I have other captains go, why are you always looking at the bad part? Why don't you just think of the good and keep thinking about the good? And I go, well, that's not how I'm wired, man.
Right.
I'm trying to make shit work.
Let's go to the good. You got something funny for me?
Yeah. Got something good. Good and funny. Let's think of a good funny
35 years, you got one good little cherry sitting in there somewhere.
Oh man, it's just sick in here. Let me think a second of a good funny one. We got some funny ones, huh? Let me sip on my beer here, Mark. I gotta...
I just while you're taking a minute, I gotta mention when you were in Chignik and you were going up to that last house and you go walking up and the gal comes out screaming, I'm like, get the out of here!
That was Michael's wife.
It's a dog. It's a dog. So one of my experiences in Chignik was at the time it was a plant. It was the plant there, and it was a Trident plant at that time, and the meal schedule was all set, and guys had to come in and eat at their scheduled times, and the management for whatever reason always ate early, because they would eat before everybody else, before the actual lunch hour, so they'd get out of the way before everybody else came in. And so we were going in to eat, and a friend of mine, Jeff Miller, he brought his dog up. Vetter was his name, Eddie Vetter.
I know Vetter. Jeff, yeah.
Yeah. So he brings his dog up, and we're waiting for the galley to open to go in, and as soon as the door opened, here comes his dog running inside. Well, a little Mexican guy was coming right in behind him, a little Hispanic guy coming right in behind him, and Jeff just said, Vetter, out! And screamed and pointed, and both the dog and this kid both turned around and started walking out.
Oh yeah.
And Jeff's like, not you, not you.
Yeah, right. I took a little Mexican guy when I took him in. I took him to this. I hired him and I took him over to the Mariner game, and we're at the baseball game, and all of a sudden they stand up and they start singing, "Oh, say, can you see?" And he's going, man, these people are polite. They're Jose, can you see? Yeah, you can see just fine, Jose. You can do just fine.
Do you have any advice for guys starting to get in this industry now? I mean, you've been doing it for 35 years.
Yeah, I do have some advice. I give the same advice I gave the first guys I hired. No, you guys got to watch out. I remember hiring this one kid. He wanted a job with me, he pulls up, and I'm going to meet him for an interview. And he pulls up in his car, and he's got a pretty girl in the car, and the car seat in the back seat. And I go, oh wow, you got a family? Oh yeah, I got a family. Wow, that's great. You got any alcohol or drug problems? No. Oh, good. Any IRS problems? Nope, no IRS problems. Well, you might want to get ready for all that shit. You're going to continue coming with me. No, that was. I tried to get these kids. No, you want them to have a hope in there, and I do think there is a good, solid hope for it.
Well, we're getting older, right? I mean,
the
old guys are quitting, and
there's definitely a vacuum where they need it. There's a missing generation there that these kids need to, and they work hard and do it. They're still. I'm proud of it. I'm not always proud of my colleagues. I got to work with a bunch of assholes, but I do like what we've done and what kind of life I gotten out of it. So it's a
pretty good life where you're at now, right? I mean,
really comfortable life. You're happy and you're healthy. And you've seen some things, and you can hold your head up high when you walk through the town and you go to the grocery store or something. You can do something that not very many people can do, and you can do it well. That's what gives you a certain pride, where you're going, okay.
So you're walking in the grocery store and you get on that bright rain gear, and you're the big rooster cock strutting down the aisle, right?
Get out of my way.
If they only knew, right? Bering Sea fishermen.
Yeah, you got to be humble about it too.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, we do need fresh blood in our fleet, though. I mean, not I point this out several times throughout many of these broadcasts. Our fleet is anybody up there doing the work. You know, it's not any company or any individual company. It's all of us. I mean,
Right.
Everyone. You know, all of us need fresh blood.
I'm really proud of the young guys I have on my boat right now. I'm the captain, and we had several guys who were getting in their 40s and 50s, and we kind of been. Guys have been retiring, and I've been weaning younger guys in there. Now I got 2 or 3 guys that are 24, 25 years old. You know,
Well, you're the captain of the Southern Wind up there for
correct,
crab.
yeah.
Well, what I find the funniest about that is that you're like, Mark, I'm gonna go up and start my crab, and then the next thing I know, you're already back in town. You're done.
Oh yeah.
So over
we're
the
done.
years, did you just find the honey pot and you're not telling anybody about it? Because you were done.
No.
fast.
The whole idea is when you go is because because all the years I spent working so many months a year. Right now, especially with the quotas and issue, the thing I know the first is I want to get out of there. Right when you land, the next plan is how are we getting out of here. You know, you always say, I'll be happy when we get the pots on. I'll be happy when we set the pots. I'll be happy when we fill that tank. I'll be happy when we deliver. I'll be happy when we get the pots back on. I'll be happy when we put the pots on the beach. You know, you're never going to be goddamn happy. So
Just get the work done.
let's just get out of here.
Yeah, we're running out of time here, but man, Harley, I'd really like to have you back again to continue some of these stories because I feel like we could do maybe 3 or 4 podcasts.
Yeah. I got a couple more stories, Mark. You kind of had me on the point there a few times, but I'll refresh.
I really appreciate you coming today to do this.
Thank you.
And hopefully you like it and you'll come back again.
Yeah, keep feeding beers, you know.
All right, guys, this has been another episode of Galley Stories. I'm your host, Mark Kaler, Stories of the Bering Sea and beyond. I hope you enjoyed today's episode because I really enjoyed listening to it myself. And we will see you guys next time.
All right.